Glad to have you with us here on College Football Now by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you, and we got a lot to talk about here on today's show. Former ESPN college football analyst and Hall of Famer David Pollack is suggesting that Virginia Tech and NC State could be on the move to the SEC. We'll show you what Pollack had to say, react to it, coming up in just a moment. Also, is the Big 12 in a bit of trouble after the NCAA settlement to their lawsuit last week? We'll explain what's going on with the Big 12 Conference coming up in just a little while from right now. Before we do, folks, a little challenge out there to all the college football fans. We are just a month away from the season starting. We want to bring you more college football content than ever before, but we need your help. Bosses say we need to get 20 subs off today's video. Can you guys make it happen? I got to tell you, me and producer Joey, we've been just crushing it on College Football 25. We're ready for the season to begin. If you're ready, subscribe now. Join the family. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. To subscribe now, you'll be glad you did. Do Virginia Tech and NC State just mean more? That's the question for the Southeastern Conference. As David Pollack, former ESPN college football analyst, college football Hall of Famer, sounded off in an interview over the last few days with Sports Illustrated, and he listed Virginia Tech and NC State as team fits for the SEC. And I know what you're thinking. Huh? Listen to what Pollack had to say. Do you know who fits in the SEC? NC State and Virginia Tech. Those are teams that you go to those games. Those are SEC environments. Those are awesome shows, passionate college football fans, and you get those markets while not compromising the top of those markets. I could see those two teams being there. All right, Pollack, I don't know what he's thinking here. I like David Pollack a lot. I thought ESPN did him dirty. But there's not a chance in hell that the Southeastern Conference is adding Virginia Tech and NC State. And if I'm going to be honest, I know we're going to have Virginia Tech and NC State people watching that aren't going to be upset with what I'm going to say next. What do they really bring to the table? The answer is nothing. Let's look at the numbers from Virginia Tech. Based in Blacksburg, Virginia. Where's that? They've been a member of the ACC since 2004. Only 11 conference titles to their name. And the most recent, you have to go all the way back to 2010. Yours truly, I was in high school back then. Their all-time record, a win percentage just over 60%, and they don't really have much beyond what Frank Beamer brought them. He's pretty much their entire program, and he's been gone for a while. Meanwhile, you look at NC State, based in Raleigh, North Carolina. They've been a member of the ACC since 1953. They also have 11 conference titles to their name, but you have to go pretty far back, 1979. Now, Dave Doran's done a good job, but they still haven't taken that next step, if you will, over the years in the ACC as of late. Their all-time win percentage just barely above 500 with 638 total wins. Bottom line, as the kids say, these programs are mid, if we're going to be real with y'all. I mean, even if you look at the expansion candidates within the ACC of who's the most attractive out there, North Carolina's number one. You got Virginia up there, Florida State, Clemson, Miami, Louisville, Pitt. I've named 7 teams already before I got to NC State and Virginia Tech. I could go Duke, potentially, Pitt. I mean, I just don't see this. I just don't see this at all for the SEC of really adding that much. And not to mention, right now, the SEC has no plans to expand anytime soon. Now, all of this could change. We've seen how conference realignment works, that these things, when they do happen, they move pretty quickly. But Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference at SEC Media Days in Dallas a couple of weeks ago, was very adamant. They're not looking to expand right now, that they're focused on their 16 teams that they have with their recent additions of Oklahoma and Texas. This is what Sankey had to say recently. 16 is our today, and 16 is our tomorrow. We're focused on our 16. Our presidents have been clear that I'm not going to entangle us into litigation around expansion. We can certainly remain at 16 for a long, long time and be incredibly successful. And he's absolutely right about that, because they've been, without a doubt, the best conference in the country, and that's not slowing down anytime soon. So what do you guys think? Will Virginia Tech and NC State join the ACC? Y for yes, N for no. Weigh in on our pinned comment today and let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time, the best place to go for last-minute tickets for the lowest prices guaranteed. Game Time is the authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Now, in a few weeks, yours truly, I'm going to be at the USC LSU game in Vegas, Sunday night of Labor Day weekend. Cannot wait. And what I'm going to do, and what you guys need to do, is hop on the Game Time app, select the game you want to go to. Let's say you choose the Vegas Football Classic. There's Allegiant Stadium. You get to see what the seat's like, get the visual, if you will, and then just like that, you're checking out on Game Time. Apple Pay, Google Pay, all major credit card providers. They make it fast, easy, and simple for you. And that's not all, folks. You can save $20 off your first purchase when you use the promo code CHATSPORTS at checkout. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Terms apply. Again, create an account, and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. The Big 12 Conference is the Big 12 in a bit of trouble. There could be potential struggles ahead for the Big 12 after the recent NCAA settlement that occurred within the last few days between the Big 12 and what was the other Power 4 conferences, the ACC, the Pac-12, the SEC, and the Big 10. But today we focus our attention on the Big 12, and we'll explain why here in a moment. Let's start with this joint statement from the Power 5 conferences on the settlement. This is another important step in the ongoing effort to provide increased benefits to student and athletes while creating a stable and sustainable model for the future of college sports. While there is still much work to be done in the settlement approval process, this is a significant step toward establishing clarity for the future of all Division I athletics while maintaining a lasting educational-based model for college sports, ensuring the opportunity for student athletes to earn a degree and the tools necessary to be successful in life after sports. All right, so let's get down to business. Here's what you really need to know when it comes to this settlement. Athletes now can sign deals with schools beginning in the summer of 2025. Schools will be able to spend a maximum of $23.1 million. In essence, that's their salary cap, if you will. That spending limit is based on 22% of average Power 5 money that is generated. Each school will be able to decide how they want to split the pot among their athletes. NIL collectives will continue if offering legitimate endorsements. So potentially we might be going back to the days of cash underneath the table. You know, the good old handshake in the locker room. Those days might be returning based on what's going on here. Outside arbitrator will enforce rules, not the NCAA. That is something new, folks. Less power to the NCAA. Got to love it. Roster limit of 105 football players. Everyone can be on scholarship. Currently, you have 85 scholarships and over 120 players. So the days of walk-ons are likely done. Meanwhile, athletes can opt out of this settlement and retain their rights to sue the NCAA. $2.78 billion is to be paid from athletes that participated from 2016 to present, while the NCAA will continue pushing for federal legislation next. All right, so that was a lot, but let's go back to the Big 12 and how they factor in all this. Look, we know the Pac-12 already died. We already know the ACC's in big trouble with their situation. So that leaves us with the Big 12. And what this does is that it's going to make it tougher for the Big 12 to compete, right? We know that the Big 10 and the SEC have a huge financial advantage, which we'll show you here in just a second, right? Now, you have to take some of that revenue that you have, and it's going directly to the athletes. And the SEC and Big 10 schools already are going to have more money to spend. That makes it even that much tougher for the Big 12. but there is a solution. I'll explain here in just a second. Let's go by the numbers. Starting in 2025, the Big 12's media revenue is going to be about $31.7 million with money that they'll receive from the NCAA tournament, the college football playoff, and all that. They expect their teams to take home about $50 million when it's all said and done. So even with that $50 million, that still doesn't come close to what the other conferences are making just in their media revenue alone. The Big 10 next year expected to bring in $72 million per school. Not the case with Oregon and Washington, though, as they get half revenue shares for the next 5 years while they're members of the Big 10. The SEC looking at giving their schools close to a nice $69 million in media revenue. So you can see over double the SEC and the Big 10, what their schools are bringing in compared to the Big 12 in that sense, and that's where most of the money is made there. So this, I think, is going to push the Big 12 closer towards private equity, which is something that we've spent a lot of time talking about on this program of the Big 12 and their interests in that regard and getting the private equity investment with the idea of kind of playing catch-up to the Big 10 and the SEC. So it doesn't look good right now of their position compared to these two conferences, but help could be on the way. But private equity, we haven't really seen it in college sports, could be a big gamble too. We'll see how it pays off as the Big 12 tries to keep up with the big dogs in the Big 10 and the SEC, if you will. So is the Big 12 in trouble? What do you think right now? HY for hell yes, HN for hell no. Weigh in, let us know what you think. Subscribe now to College Football Now for continuing college football coverage. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. I'm Tyler Jones, and we will see you next time.